Hey everyone, today we are introducing our first guest reviewer here on TeamRegulars. Her name is StephUpUrLyf. You might already know her as she does active reviews to BlackBoxTV's episodes, but today we decided to have our first guest reviewer, so please everybody give her a big welcome. And here is our review of Deumos Kisses, episode 17, season 2, episode 2. Enjoy.
By the way, guys, if you have not watched this episode, you should definitely check it out now.
First off, I have to say I love the plot. I thought it was really well written. The story was great. Sebastian did a fantastic job, and I hope to see more stories written by him in the future.
I think it's probably one of the most impressive stories I've seen from BlackBoxTV so far.
Now, something I really found interesting about this episode is that a lot of the things I liked about it, I didn't catch until I watched it the second time.
Now, overall, I loved this episode. It was really interesting, and after fully understanding what the episode was about, I liked it a lot more.
I thought it was going to be something like action, but once I saw the guy going down to the basement, that's when I knew something supernatural was coming out.
At first I was kind of confused, and I was like, okay, it's a good classic horror episode, but what's going on?
They fit these roles perfectly. Two guys ill-equipped for the heist they're just about to pull. It seems like a regular story, but there is a twist.
The acting was kind of awkward.
Of all the performances, I also found the actress playing the wife to have the weakest dialogue.
The wife, her expressions were just so realistic. Like, I could see, it just seemed like as if she was really being robbed.
Everything that the lady said seemed to be really dull.
And at the same time, she had that look about her that, you know, she knew these guys are about to get had, and you can just see in her expression, she's kind of like, payback.
She might have had only 2 lines in the entire episode.
I thought the wine scene was a bit tacky. The husband seemed to be overacting, while the wife seemed completely oblivious.
It was just like she wasn't really into it.
Whenever she did say anything, it just sounded flat and lifeless to me.
The husband and wife, they've apparently been doing this for like 6 years now. Like, what the hell did they do to have to do this?
Man, I don't even know. This episode was just terrible. Just a freaking mess.
I want to know what that story is.
I'm serious. No, I'm not. I'm totally joking.
I like how it's getting back to the really creepy stuff, like really creepy.
It was awesome. It was phenomenal. This was probably the best work that Tony has ever uploaded onto BlackBoxTV, and I mean that sincerely.
If you kind of really think about it, every single character are all thieves.
No, I don't. I'm just kidding again. It was just okay.
The burglars are going in to get wealthy. The house owners are going in to get wealthy and maintain their power. And the demon is going in there to essentially grow its power and to have control.
It was all planned. In fact, I think the husband knows this Terry individual and set up both Travis and Luke to basically be soul food to this demon living in his cellar.
Hostage guy kind of just looked up dramatically and smiled. That was a little creepy because you knew something was going on.
When the robber went down to the office, the guy kind of had this smirk on his face when he left, and it kind of made you think, like, oh, what's down there?
The way the husband looks when one of the burglars starts to go downstairs and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, yes, I love it.
The guy who's tied up gives this little knowing smile, and the woman stops crying. I didn't see that at first, and now I realize that they were in on the secret that there was a demon in the basement.
There were 2 really subtle things that I didn't notice the first time watching, but I watched it a second time and a third time, and I noticed 2 things. When the robber is going downstairs, or he's standing at the top of the stairs, the wife stops crying and looks to the side, kind of suspiciously. And also the husband, whose head is tilted down, he looks up and smirks a little bit and is looking directly over at the robber.
They had sold their souls or something to this demon.
It was really cool, actually, I gotta say.
They're always told to go down into the basement in some cellar, some subplot, playing on their greed or their pride or their courage or just their wickedness.
You could almost see the back plot of these people telling their friends or telling people to tell people that they have this treasure in their basement to feed this thing that lives down there. You don't really get an explanation to what she is or if it's really a she.
They made a deal with her to have wealth and happiness, and she needs souls, so they bring souls to the house pretty much, and she won't take theirs.
I thought that overall in the episode that the camera angles were really good.
Don't make deals with demons. It's not recommended.
I like the dolly move. I want to say it's a dolly move, but it's not. It's a panning move. From the wife to the fireplace. That was freaking awesome. It was really smooth. There was no problems with it, and it made a good transition.
I liked the camera angles, like the panning scene when they're going past the fireplace, move from the fireplace to the man and woman sitting on the couch.
The basement scene in this episode, that was awesome.
She's been crying non-stop since the moment they showed up. As soon as she hears him head down the stairs, that goes right at the window. Kind of shows you another side of people.
So when he entered the room, it was almost like a dreamlike kind of feeling.
He turns to the camera with the light, and I really like that shot. It feels... I like the mood of it.
I love the scene when the robber was downstairs and he was pointing his flashlight at Olga and the flashlight goes out. Now that is something that is very classic in a lot of horror films. That will always happen, and then that leads you up to a scare, which happened a few seconds later.
The first half was really good.
However, I gotta be honest, I was expecting more.
I loved everything about the first half of this episode. I was so drawn in. I was glued to the edge of my seat. Even the first shot of Olga, I was like, this is gonna be awesome, and then it kind of went downhill for me from there.
She did a good job, but the acting it didn't quite sell for me. I didn't quite buy it. Yeah, I was just kind of let down.
There are some choices that I didn't like, and then there are some choices that I loved. The weird thing was how they kind of followed each other. For example, when Travis was going down the steps, you hear that crying sound in the back. It sounded demonic, but at the same time, it kind of sounded like a dog with a sinus problem. So for me, it was distracting, but I still liked the idea.
They're feeding him the bad guys, which is kind of an awesome idea.
So eerie. I love that.
I liked the actors that they chose for the robbers. I kind of believe that these two guys are down on their luck. They heard this rumor, and they just decided to go for it.
The way it looked to me in there was they filmed it in front of a green screen and just put blackness around. So it looked, I hate to say it, but it looked fake.
I didn't really like the green screen effects, the CGI, and I know they're working on a limited budget. I personally thought the effects were pretty good, but you know, it could be better.
And that was my main problem with this episode, was that I thought it seemed just really fake and not realistic, I guess. Because what I find scary is stories that could be possibly brought into a real life aspect.
I think kind of what threw me off is the amount of fog that was put in with the Olga's character sucking the life out of the burglar down in the basement, and then the cuts to the bones. There wasn't continuity-wise for fog. It didn't match, so I think it might have been that. It was kind of throwing my brain off.
Fog in the basement really distracted me.
The hand through the torso trick. You see it all the time in horror movies. Shows how strong the villains really are by just tearing right through the body, nothing but their bare hand.
She says, "They're not my parents," and immediately her hand is thrust through his stomach and it basically kills the guy. Now that was really cool, and the timing was really good. However, her hand. It seemed way too clean to have just burst through the guy's abdomen. I was expecting a lot more guts, and given that the episode seemed kind of cheesy or something, I was half expecting her to be like holding a heart or something.
When you see Olga's fist, it's kind of bloody on the knuckles, but to be honest, if you go through somebody's body with a fist, shouldn't there be a little more, maybe?
She plays scary really good.
But it reminded me of the episode prior because there was a hand on the table, a hand went through the guy. Tony, are you messing with hands now? Are hands your things for season 2?
However, the next scene when she rips her hand through his chest, I mean, it seemed a bit gimmicky to me.
When she was sucking out the soul, that reminded me of Harry Potter with the Dementor's kiss, so I think that's where the Deumos kisses came from.
I'm thinking something like Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, when the cat people would suck out your essence and stuff up through your mouth.
When she lifts his mask, pulls him down to kiss him, suck his soul out basically. It's intercut with the reveal of like these human bones just all over the floor. The smoke is moving away.
The kiss with all the fog going around them. That scene, the snapshot, the image of that scene, it was great. I thought it was great.
I love the skeletons too. The skeletons that were down there looked cool. It wasn't overdone, and it was just subtle enough that when you notice it, you're like, holy crap, the bottom of this floor is covered in bones.
When she was leaning over him, sucking out the soul from him or whatever, I didn't think that was graphic enough. Like, it didn't have... She just kissed him.
There was a lot of fog and dramatic lighting and, you know, almost like a hero shot angle from the ground. And, I don't know, it just seemed a bit too overdone and kind of distracting.
Gotta say that the cat burglars, they deserved it.
The scene where she's coming after the second bad guy and she's kind of making the face didn't really frighten me. It almost made me laugh a little because it didn't work for me, at least.
She didn't have that much makeup on. She didn't look like a demon.
It reminded me of The Grudge without looking as scary or as good.
At the end of the episode, when Olga is making the scary faces, I'm sorry. Sorry, that just didn't work.
I think it would have looked a little bit better if her motions were a little bit more disjointed and a little bit more kind of blurry, like just split seconds of blur or fast movement, or you know, just kind of making it look a little bit more chaotic.
It brought me out for a second in the story, and then when she leaned over and said to them, like, it's okay as long as you keep coming and bringing them to me, then I won't come for you. That was like, whoa, that's pretty intense.
Right when I saw the twist at the very end, I finally understood why the question was asked in the beginning.
And the only person that seems to know how dangerous she really is the husband.
The last clip is of this woman's face with her staring eyes, and you can see that she's scared. I really, really like that shot. I think that was brilliant.
The soundtrack. I think it was the best episode to have a soundtrack.
I loved the soundtrack. Oh my god, they had the best music from any BlackBoxTV episode ever. It fit perfectly.
I loved it. That was really well done, and I loved the wailing screams that she had.
This was an okay episode.
Very good episode. Very good job, BlackBoxTV.
A lot of things I would change, but I loved the episode as a whole.
If you haven't subscribed to TeamRegulars, you absolutely should. It's down below, or up. No, it's up there. Subscribe, please.
That's about it. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
I don't know about anyone else, but I was really annoyed with the wife's crying. You know when you watch a horror movie and there's that one girl that's just screaming off the top of her lungs at everything, and you just want to basically like stick your hand in the screen and pah. It was kind of like that.